A lot of families are getting ready to carve those pumpkins. In fact, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says nearly 150 million people carve pumpkins each year. But if you're not careful, you know that family fun can turn into a fright night. On average, ER departments treat 3,200 Halloween-related injuries annually, and 55% of those are related to pumpkin carving. That's why it is so important to use proper tools and techniques to minimize the risks. So joining me now to show us how to properly carve a beautiful pumpkin here is Dr. Doug Dorman, an ER doctor with Honor Health Medical Group. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We were talking earlier, this is very disturbing, that about a week out before Halloween, that's when you see a lot of cases of people injuring themselves, a lot of them kids.
Correct. About half the people that visit an emergency department for a pumpkin carving related injury are going to be under the age of 18, an even higher percentage under the age of 10.
And what injuries are we talking about?
So almost all the injuries are going to be hand lacerations, primarily to your thumbs, the most common injury that people hurt themselves.
Okay, so show us, what are they doing wrong and how do you do it right?
So my biggest tips for carving a pumpkin safely are going to be, number one, making sure everything's set up in your environment. You want to have good light. You want to make sure that the pumpkin's on a steady surface and everything's kind of clean away, because it can get pretty messy and slippery.
Oh yeah, I like to put paper down.
Yep, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And then obviously, whenever you're using a knife, you want to make sure that you're cutting away from yourself. And it's always the hand that you're not holding the knife and then ends up getting cut. So for example, you're going to want to make sure that your other hand's kind of out of the way.
Okay.
So as you go around here,
right.
My thumb's way out of the way, the pumpkin's
That's a good
steady.
point when you say like something where, you know, it's not going to be slippery underneath, which probably should have gotten something.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, for purposes of demoing. Yeah. So
that if it slips, I'm not going to cut my thumb.
You know, and a lot of times we see these, you know, knife kits. I've seen them at the dollar store a lot, or, you know, any grocery store, what have you, Target, whatever. I mean, these are really helpful too. And a lot of times the knives are serrated.
Correct. I actually like those knives a lot because it's easy to get kind of some fine details.
Yes.
Especially if I'm carving with some of my older children, it's a lot easier. And again, you're not putting as much force behind that, so it's unlikely it's going to slip and cause any serious injury.
No kidding. Okay. I'm thinking, usually I will say that my husband or I will do the first part, cutting into it.
Yep.
Because I feel like that's the most dangerous, right?
I've seen people cut themselves doing all aspects of the pumpkin carving, but I definitely would recommend, if you're working with smaller children, that you can always just have them paint a design or draw a design, and then have an adult go over it. Or just painting pumpkins can be fun too for some of those younger kids.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Okay, so after you open it up, you scoop it out, and then that's when, is it easier to do the knife cutting for the eyes and stuff like that? Before or after it's scooped out?
I like to scoop it out, make it as thin and as easy as you can. Yep, I think that's the next step.
And then do that, draw the eyes, and then that's where you're gonna cut, hopefully using a serrated knife. Yeah, and then that's it. What else, anything else we should know?
Obviously, if you do slip and hurt yourself, some basic first aid tips are, you know, direct pressure. You can always elevate the wound. Then make sure it gets nice and clean. So wash it off with some kind of nice soapy water and kind of take a look at it. If it looks like the skin's still pretty well aligned and you can move it and it's not too painful, then it's probably safe just to treat at home. Obviously, check with your doctor, make sure your tetanus is up to date whenever you get a break in the skin.
But when should you go visit the ER?
So if you can't control the bleeding, if you feel like your finger is numb, or there's obviously any evidence you may have like damaged a tendon or something deeper, or the skin's not just kind of like closing up as it should, then please come and see us, either one of our urgent cares or emergency departments. We'd be happy to take a look at you.
Hopefully no one has to see you.
Hopefully not.
I know. All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and your demo. Troy, hopefully you've never gotten hurt.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the ER after carving a pumpkin, that's been a bad carve. I will say that for sure.